بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm very happy to see you all here and to meet you today about our lecture or workshop, in fact, about emotional intelligence. And it's really a blessing to have such a crowd, which gives me the feeling that our students are understanding the importance of this new skill or type. It's not new, but it's a skill that we should all embrace and we should all train ourselves in doing it. Welcome for the workshop, which is one of the workshops that are offered through our Business Week for 14-15 at DAH University. The Business Week, which is under the Business School at DAH. As I told you today, you are up to a very interesting workshop, and the purpose of this workshop today is to give you an idea about what is emotional intelligence and why do you need to know about emotional intelligence, or in other words, we will try to find what is the business case that we need to know about why emotional intelligence now is becoming very common in the market. It is one of the skills that all people looking for advancement in careers to address. Any more? Would you like to add more? Okay, thank you. You wrote a lot, no problem. No, you don't need to, I just need two. Yeah, you will find that, we will find out that we are all common. Okay. We have a pretty good set of lists. Let us read, what did you write? What did you come up with the adjectives of people that they managed to bring out your best and you did really enjoy working with them? Some here they wrote understanding, motivating, easygoing, helpful, optimistic, responsible, helpful and understanding, smart and active, supporting, creative, compassionate, understanding, leading, determined, believer, good listener. What do you see here? They are all common. You were all common in working with people that, and you think they made that because they made you happy because this is their attributes. This is their kind of behaviors of dealing with you. So this is the people who managed to get the best out of you. Let us see the other type, which is those who manage to get the worst out of you. And it always happens. Dependent, unreliable, stubborn, not good listener, lazy, bossy, stressed, angry, annoyed, overwhelming. You mean that she's mean and careless, which she doesn't address or he doesn't address. Disinterested, not punctual, dependent, unreliable. So these are all related to skills. Do you agree? Not on time, unreliable, dependent, not motivating. These are all kind of skills that it's things that are unspoken, but you see it there, right? So which person you would love to work with most? But do you think that, yes, we do have people who have both, or they can have different attitudes? We can meet people with different skills and attitudes and attributes, and they have different behaviors. It happens. So we always expect to have and see people with these different activities or these different types of skills that they could be practicing. Right. how can you do or how can you react when you are in different situations? What will you do? How are you going to react and converse when you meet people with this kind of skills? I mean, both situations, you can choose whatever you like. To see how you will deal with. Okay. When you are in this situation, they are getting the best out of you. You get your best. It means you do the best performance you can ever can. Right? Does that has to do with your level of your IQ skills? Does it has to do with the level of your knowledge? We did not address knowledge. We didn't touch it. We were just talking like we know how to do the job. We have the basic knowledge and skills that would allow us to do that job. However, it is just a matter of feelings. It's only the feelings that reflected and affected the way we performed. Don't forget, you're the same person. You are the same person. In a certain situation, you did the most you can. Being the same person with the same knowledge, level of knowledge, and level of knowledge competence, let me put it this way, you managed to get the worst out of yourself. And it's not because of you, because the relationship that you have with the other person. And the skills that you have listed there, in fact, it is the skills that basically embedded into emotion and intelligence skills. So we will try now to see what do we mean by emotional intelligence. And this is what we want to find out. But before talking about what is emotional intelligence, don't you think it's better for us first to touch base on emotions before talking about intelligence? Who can tell me what's emotions? Sorry?
How do you feel?
How do you feel? Any other ideas?
Reactions to certain situations.
Do we react or we feel first?
We feel.
And then? Can you give me any example of a situation?
Shout.
So, if someone shouted at you.
That's a reaction, but the feeling is anger.
So, if I shouted at you, what is the first thing that you're going to get? Angry. You will start being angry. And how would you know you're angry? You feel inside. What else? Probably your heart is going to be beating. Yes, excellent. So then, after you start having this feeling and being, and then you start to react. So can we say our emotions, it is physiological manifestation, right? Yet, first we feel, and then we react. I don't come and shout at you just for nothing. Unless you start evoking something. And based on this evoking, I will start reacting. Right? So feelings, can we say that feelings does have a physical reaction, a physical translation, like?
Facial expression.
Okay, even body language. Let us say when you're shy. It's a feeling, right? So how can I find out you're shy?
You look down.
Maybe you will look down because you can't face. Okay, what else? The most you turn red and you blush. Okay, when you're angry, you can have quick heart palpitation. People are different in their feelings. We all get angry, don't we? And we all feel happy. Can you tell me, can you start now recalling a situation where you felt angry? Where do you feel it? You feel it in your stomach. Your heart starts palpitating. Okay. Where do you feel it? Everywhere, like? Like you have stomach cramps and then you have heart palpitating and then you turn red, or your ears turns red, or where? Okay, so sometimes maybe your vocal cord. I didn't say when you start. We're talking about these little moments, the few seconds where you start getting the feeling and then realizing the feeling is there. In fact, emotional intelligence is the process of learning when to acknowledge the feeling. And we are all different. When will I know? Yes, I'm angry. But what is the signal that I'm going to receive in order to know I'm angry? Say, for example, for me, if I start getting angry, even without anything, I feel backache. My back cramps. There are people, I don't stop talking. I turn vocal. So once I feel the cramp, it means I have to stop. I have to keep my tongue, because my type is that who reacts. So we are all different. What I want to say now, in all our relationships or in all our daily life, we tend to meet people and they evoke emotions on us, feelings, don't they? But not everyone. I mean, our close ones or dear ones or our colleagues or co-workers or supervisors, friends. These are all the type of people that we do, but not everybody. However, with those with us, they do have an impact on us, and we do have these kinds of feelings that have physical reactions, and it is important for us to realize it and acknowledge it, and it's part of the emotional intelligence. Now, so it's to do with emotions, and now we agree that emotions are existing, and they are very much intertwined and related to our thoughts and thinking. Because once I feel something, I will start reacting. Because you can't tell me if you are sad, and you're, for forbid's sake, you're very sad, you will go to a party and be cheerful and happy.
Maybe that's your way of dealing with that.
That's a way of dealing. I'm talking about moments. Or if, do you agree? If you're, for forbid's sake, if you're sad, what will you do?
Like the first reaction,
I didn't say how will you deal with it. You will overwhelm in sad thoughts. Wouldn't you be overwhelmed with being dim, dumb, depressed? But when you're happy, the situation will be different. So we want to see, what do we mean by emotional intelligence? And before talking about what is emotional intelligence, I just want to tell you, we're still talking about what is it. It first started with an author called, and a researcher called Daniel Goleman. I don't know if you've heard about him or not, in 1995. So it's a new approach that people starting recognizing that it is important for our life and for our career and development. And actually, those who brought Travis Bradley and Jane Greaves, these are the ones who are having an institute now for training and development in emotional intelligence. So they derive their definition from Daniel Goleman, who is the guru and the father of emotional intelligence, if you're interested reading more about it. So what they say here, emotional intelligence is your ability to recognize. Now we started realizing that whatever we have, we can recognize and understand emotions. So I have to know, yes, I'm angry, but I need to know where do I feel it, or I have to know when I have these emotions, how do I feel? How is it physically reflected on me? And your skill at using this awareness, being aware what is your feeling and how is it physically reflecting on you. But the most important is the step after that, which is knowing how to manage it. How to manage it. How to manage yourself and your relationship with others. Why we're saying your relationship with others? She turned me happy. Do I have to overreact my happiness? Maybe sometimes not. She turned me angry. Do I have to react and be very angry with her and give her low grades across the semester because she did not submit the report and this delayed, so and then I profile her because she's being lazy student and she's not performing as I want her? Is that right to do it? So it's always you have to know if you're angry of someone, for example, you need to know, no, you have to understand what made you angry. And how can you control that anger in order not to affect the person in front of you? Probably the reason that she made me angry, it is a situation that I did not understand it from her point of view. Because if I understand it from her point of view, acknowledging my feeling, understanding it from her point of view, then this will make me realize how I'm going to manage the relationship between me and her. Because everything in life is related to relationships. Everything we have is to do with relationships. And to manage relationships, is it easy? Don't you have among your groups of students and different kinds of, they are this smooth and type, and do you have that? Admit it. Do you? Why? Why do we have that among groups at work or in college or in university?
People have different personalities and different,
Yes, people have different personalities, but does that mean I have to profile the personalities and deal with them because they are not matching my personality?
be rational.
You need to be very rational, and to be very rational, this is what requires a skill. Because I'm not going to expect when you start your career that you're going to find everyone up to your expectations, or you're not going to be up to their expectations. So it's a matter of knowing how to be emotionally intelligent, to manage, to address and understand your emotions, and how to deal with these emotions for your favor and favor of others, so that you can manage the relationship and you always have the best out of you. So it's all to do with emotions. We're going to look into, before looking what is it, I just want you to take you here. So in fact, emotional intelligence, to understand how do we realize our emotions, acknowledge it, and manage it in order to help us to have better relations with others, if it is at work or anywhere. It has 4 components. 2 of these components, it's to do with your own personal competence. You. It's you that you need to realize. So it is very important through this learning process of how to be emotionally intelligent is that you need to be self-aware. And when I say self-aware, it means that you need to realize, yes, this is how my emotions evokes, and this is how I can acknowledge them. Knowing that, then I know how to manage myself, because I know when I'm angry, and I can tell if the situation needs me to reflect my anger, or I have to use different ways of controlling that anger, because it's under your control. And through the training of emotional intelligence, you will learn what are the skills that will help you to realize and to be very much self-aware. And then you go to another step, if you're self-aware, how to manage yourself. Then the social competence, because we said it's to do with relationships, which means that I should have a better social standing. And the social competence is to find to what extent I'm skillful of being socially aware. So once I walk into a classroom, I read the mood of the room. They're happy today. Oh, they are excited. Oh, I can see they have an exam after this class. So no one is going to be with me in the same wavelength. I better think of a different way of how to deliver this class to disconnect them from what they are anxious about. Social awareness is that you need to know, or you have to be socially aware. You need to know how to read others. You need to know how to feel others. Because if you know that, then you will know what is their situation. I told you that she made me angry, but does that mean I have to profile her and turn angry to her, or I have to put myself in her shoes? You see? So this is what to do with social awareness. Once knowing how to read the environment, the ambiance of the room, if you are in a classroom, if you are among friends, if you are in your career and you walked into a meeting room, or you're going to meet with your boss, or you're going to meet with your colleagues, it's very important to read them. Don't act isolated. You are part of a society. And when we say society, even the smaller society. So knowing that, then you know how to manage relationships. And this is the ultimate thing that we're looking for. Now, they say emotionally intelligent. Does it mean there are people who are emotionally intelligent and there are people who are not? No. We are all emotionally intelligent, but we vary. We vary in the levels, how we can be mastering, or at least we have an average of practicing and acquiring the skills that are related to all the different components. So there are people who can be very good at self-management, for example, but they are not very good at self-awareness. So this can create them some sort of not being self-confident. Why? Because you always suppress yourself. However, you manage to accommodate others. See what I mean? But you need to be balanced. There are people who are very good at relationship management, but they don't have self-awareness, or they don't have social awareness. Because if they polish their social awareness, then they can do better. So each of these components have certain strategies, or your level of your innate abilities to acquire knowledge. Our ability to acquire knowledge, not the level of knowledge we have. And it doesn't mean that I'm smarter than you. It doesn't mean I have an IQ higher than yours. This is not true, because based on research, they said that your level of IQ at the age of 7 is the same as your level of IQ at the age of 67. How? Does it make sense?
Yeah, you're the same person.
You are the same person, because how do they measure IQ? Any idea? Test based on what? Same age groups. So when they assess your IQ at the age of 7, they assess you with a group of 7 years old. And when they assess your level of IQ at the age of 67, they assess you with people at the age of 67. You see how it is measured? Yes. They have more higher creativity. They have higher level of creativity than adults. And this is another area. Okay? But it reflects on your IQ. It reflects on your level of acquiring knowledge and using the knowledge that you acquired. Because creativity is another dimension. Right? Okay. So how does your IQ change across the years of development? It doesn't change in the sense of your ability to acquire knowledge based on your age group. Fine, we agreed? Now let us find out to what extent our level of IQ on being smart or not smart, it contributed to our performance at work. Any idea? It does to some extent. Definitely, this is a matter of fact we cannot deny at all. Because you can't tell me you can come and teach math and you don't have no idea about math. Because you can read about it and you come and teach it, no. So you need to have, but to what extent it will reflect, you will excel. To what reflect it has an impact in your level of performance at your job. They say it ranges between 10 to 25%. It does have an impact, but the impact ranges between 10 to 25% of your performance. We know that nice people اللي فهلوانجية وهدول مشوا حالهم, you agree? Yeah. Right? So let us see the personality. What is a personality? Which is the other component. Okay, the characteristics of your behaviors and attitudes. You agree? Is it? Oh, okay. So your characteristics of your personality, how does it change? When your personality starts being steady and you develop the real you?
Well, first, most of it is based on the way you're raised, I guess, your values. Like sometimes your personality depends on that. Some people could be, for example, very outgoing.
Mm-hmm.
That means that could be because they were raised in an environment where it's always okay to talk, say how you feel, stuff like that. Yeah. And some people could be very, they could be introverts.
Yes.
And that could mean that they're
Very true. Very true. But when does it settle, become stabilized? Age in the 20s. In your early 20s, you have the personality, whatever personality you have explained, Ghalia, which is absolutely true. Does it change? After the age of 20, do you change a lot? A little. It starts being steady in changing. You agree? And they say it doesn't change that much. Probably it can change 1% or a little bit more. Okay. But now we want to know your personality. How does it contribute to your performance at work?
much more than IQ.
A little bit. According to research, they said 9%. It can't contribute. 9. It's not that big. Yes.
So I guess EQ has it all.
How much would you guess EQ? This is based on research. This is the business case.
Like 75%.
60%. Yes. And now, most of the businesses, when it comes to recruitment, part of their interview or assessment, they do an EQ assessment. No, you mean for students or for faculty? We have something called personality test. Personality test, not an EQ test. But I'm talking about big corporations. Now they are changing because I know there is, without declaring the name, and this is a matter of fact, one of the big beverages companies, they have noticed that they have high turnover, almost 50% in their employment turnover. And once they started recruiting their employees based on EQ, they started to have a stable level or percentage of turnover. And you know, most of you know turnover is one of the negative indicators of the stability of the organization. You need as much as you can to lower the rate of turnover that you can have. Okay? So, in what sense? Behind? The turnover, because they are not the right people. They can't cope. The people with high EQ, because they will end up managing their relationship with others. They end up inspiring others. They themselves, they know what they want. And they know how to compose with others. And as far everything, because everything is related to relationship, and everything is related to how we feel, yes, we agreed that IQ is important. Our level of technical know-how and technical competence is an important component and factor. However, when we talked about, we found that people, one of the reasons that they like the job because of the people they are working with. And there is another fact, by the way. Most of the people, they leave their workplace not because of the pay, because of their feelings and how they are dealing with the teams and the groups there. So it doesn't have to be with an individual, it has to do with the entire organization, that it needs to be and it needs to promote emotional intelligence so to make everyone happy and ready to give out the most, the best out of themselves. And we all, if we feel that we are content, we are appreciated, we know how to, they celebrate our successes, we will be happy. And how can we do that? When we develop our skills, emotional intelligence skills. The uniqueness of emotional intelligence skills, you can start working in one skill. You can start working in one skill. Let us say your self-awareness. When you start training using certain strategies, and this is what you can get through training, you will find automatically you have acquired and you have developed in a number of other skills that are required at work. Looking into one of your skills and you use a certain strategy, you find that you started to have more assertiveness. You're developing your social skills. Your presentation skills are getting better. Your self-esteem is getting higher. you find that automatically not only one skill is developing, a collective of skills are coming up and you are improving and developing them. And this is the beauty of this kind of trainings, because you're not focusing on one skill in one soft skill that are required at work. No. You, in fact, focus in one EQ skill, one of the EQ competencies, and you find that it is reflecting in other more competencies that are required for your career. Okay. Unfortunately, we wanted to see a movie which will show us, because actually through the training, you go through a number of video clips from movies that you know, and then we assess how did they react. What kind of skill is missing there? What kind of skill is highly practiced there? And this is from where we can start really watching ourselves or watching our relationship with others. So normally the training takes, what you have to do, the process, you go through assessment. And by the way, this assessment is for you only. And for each of the components that we talked about, each of the components you get a percentage. And this percentage, for those who are more math fans, is randomized with others with a similar category. So it's a questionnaire that you fill it. It has a set of questions. You don't see who is doing it, because the organization I told you about, Talent Smart, they are developing it. And then they give you these percentages for each. Then you pick and choose. You will find the one that you want to develop it more. They give you certain strategies, and then you need to have a mentor or a coach to follow you up, just to come and speak out. How do you see you are developing it? And by time, you will find things are changing. And I'm telling you from a personal experience. I'm sharing this with you from my personal experience. I first started as a trainee, and then when I started practicing these skills, these strategies, I found that it's truly things have changed. And I knew that it have changed. I felt it. This is number one. And I hear it from others, where they come and ask me, how do you do that? How did you accommodate her? And she did. I said, don't worry. I got it this way. Okay? So this is the just a very brief or walkthrough of how I was going to ask you this question, but probably you've seen the percentages. So the question asks you, EQ accounts for what % of job performance for supervisors through CEOs? I said 60. What percentage of top performance are high in EQ? Top, it says, tell me the percentage of top performers who are having high IQ. Yani they brought top performers, and out of them, they selected of the top performance, how many of them they have IQ? High. Almost 90%, which means for certain types of professions, you don't need people with high IQ. Scientists in labs, do they need IQ? I mean EQ? Why? Because they are working in a lab and they don't need to interact much with people. But this is rare type of jobs. Most of the jobs now needs interaction. What percentage of low performers are high in EQ? What would you expect? To be low or high? It should be low, right? Because it is expected, if it's true, then it should be low. People who are low performing, but they are high in EQ, which means it's not a definite. However, the probability and the percentage is high. When you work in your EQ, skills and competencies, definitely it will have impact in your personality. However, it will have the most impact in your career because of your relationship with others. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? No? Everything is clear and converse? Huh?
So clear.
Okay. So I wish to see you then in the trainings.
Okay, that's probably my question. Where will there be?
Normally, the business school is planning to have trainings for students. Because you know you're a different generation. Which generation you are? Do we have HR people? You are Y, you're the Gen Y. So the Gen Y, they have certain personality styles and expectations where we have to address it in a way that you see how you're going to understand each other, even among yourselves and among those who are my generation that you wish they are not there. Making things difficult for you. Okay, but I know, I understand you like to challenge and you like to be challenged. Revolutionize. Okay. Okay. In conclusion, now we have been through what is emotional intelligence and the business case and the importance for business intelligence and why we need to develop our skills in relation to emotional intelligence and how it can have a great impact in our career advancement and how companies and organizations now are looking for talented employees with high level of EQ, which can be developed and improved by training and development. Thank you very much for attending and wish to see you in the next sessions, inshallah.